Hi, everyone. Welcome to They Had Fun. I'm Rachel, and I am back with another amazing story about New York City. And it is officially my birthday week. That's right. Your girl is a Leo, as if there was any question whatsoever, or doubt in your mind about that. So since it is my birthday week, that is going to play into a bit of our Rachel's Rex, which I just want to get into right now, because I don't really know what to say for the intro anymore. You know the drill. It's summer in New York. It is fun. It is hot. It is everything you're supposed to do outdoors and party. It's the same thing, kind of people right now are starting to push the fall girl stuff, and I don't want it. Not yet, okay? We should have respect for summer. It is the most fun season. I am standing firm in that. So yes, I will have a great time when fall rolls around, but it is not here yet. It is still 85 degrees and sunny in August in New York City. So because of that, you should go out and have some fun. And let's get into our Rachel's Rex for the week. First up is going to be a perfect play into my guest this week, and you shall see why. And that is Fairfax Restaurant on West 4th Street in the West Village. It is just a perfect neighborhood restaurant. I don't know how else to describe it. The vibes of the room on fire. The food, excellent. The people working there, wink, wink, also excellent. It's just a perfect restaurant. I went and sat at the bar a few weeks ago by myself, had a lovely bowl of vegetarian pasta, a glass of rosé. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I've been in with friends to have a drink recently. If you are stumbling around the West Village and thinking, where can we go to dinner? There's too many options. Fairfax is the place for you. Sit outside, get some sort of spritz, get the fries. The burger is there that everyone is obsessed with. Okay, you know people love this burger. Tell them Rachel from They Had Fun sent you, please. No kickbacks. I'm just saying, tell them I said hi. That's it. Okay, let's get into the second recommendation. And now normally I would usually do the one you requested. However, like I said, it is my birthday, so I kind of think I can do whatever I want. And that would be my second Rachel's Rex is my birthday this Saturday. We're doing something a little special. It's Rachel's birthday. They Had Fun, Summer Streets Takeover. Absolutely no way and any way sanctioned by New York City Department of Transportation or any of that. It's just me. I'm going to be there and I've got a route, and I would truly love it if you came and joined up. It's going to be so much fun. As you know, Summer Streets is just like my favorite event of the entire year. So there was no other way for me to do my birthday than to make this plan. So we're going to try and meet at 10:30 a.m., which is early for me, but I believe in all of us because there's fun to be had. We're going to meet at Bar Pasquale on Kenmare Street. You can come on foot, you can come on bike, you can get a city bike. Every one of these stops has a city bike dock by it. Then we're gonna go up Lafayette all the way to Daily Provisions in Union Square. We're gonna stop and get coffee, iced tea, maybe a cruller if you know what's up. Then we'll get back on some bikes or on foot, and we will walk up to the Park Avenue Tavern, which is right at 40th Street. This is where the fun begins. We're gonna get some beers, we're gonna get some drinks. I don't know, maybe people will have to get some French fries into their stomach to keep the day going. Finish up there. Then we go further up Park Avenue, all the way up to Waterfall Gallery, where we will try to be the best versions of ourselves and go take in some beautiful art. And then after that, we can go back downtown to get more of the, beverages happening. So we'll go all the way back down Park Avenue. The Summer Streets close at 1, so it'll be right about the end of that. And then we will end at Ken's Broome Street Bar. Just a great go-to bar. There's room, there's outdoor space. You can get a good drink. You can get some more food there. We'll have some sort of brunch. I'm not reserving any space. This is just a come as you are, come when you want, and come have some fun. And I would truly love to hang out with you if you are hearing this. I think, until this comes back to bite me in the ass and someone shows up and throw something in my face. Who knows? So those are Rachel's Rex. Go out to Fairfax and have a great meal there, whether by yourself or with some friends. And then maybe come to my birthday on Saturday if you want to. Why not? Is this the lamest thing ever that I'm begging strangers to come to my birthday? I have friends. I promise they will be there too. Okay, let's get into our guest for this week. I am truly so happy about this one. He is one of the nicest people I've ever met. He is, no surprise, the general manager of Fairfax Restaurant right here in New York City, which happens to be owned by the Happy Cooking Restaurant Group. Please welcome to the show, Vishwas Wesley.
Rachel, thank you so much for having me. Can't wait to get into it.
And speaking of getting into it, let's just go. Let's go for it. Obviously, I met you at Jolene, one of my favorite restaurants in the city. You were a pivotal piece there, but now, as all good things do, that has come to an end, sort of. You're still with the same restaurant group, but you have moved on to the beautiful Fairfax. And I would just love to hear a little bit of maybe why there was that transition, how you got started with Happy Cooking, anything you would like to share with us.
Sure. My entry point into happy cooking was in 2014 or 15, I believe. And that itself was a New York story. For y'all that don't know, happy cooking is a group of restaurants operated downtown in New York, started by a few roommates from the University of Wisconsin-Madison that moved to New York and were working in their own respective restaurants and decided to do the thing themselves. I also went to University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit later than the founders did. But I was at a bar, one of my favorite bars in New York City, called Amor y Amargo on East 6th,
Yes,
between First and A. So I happened to be there on a Monday night with a friend of mine visiting from LA, and we went to Amor, and there was 5 people in the bar. It was me and my buddy Teague behind the bar, and 2 people on the other end of the bar. It's a very train car like space. There's just one long bar, probably 14 seats, and we were kind of at the opposite ends of the bar. These are stirred cocktails only, so they pack a little punch. So after a few of them, I overheard somebody just say UW-Madison or something like that, and I was young, just came back to New York, and I just got up and I was like, hey, I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison. We struck up a conversation, and one of the 2 people was Brian Bartles, who was one of the original pieces of the happy cooking puzzle, the first beverage director across the company. We got to chatting. The other person was Chef Mehdi, who used to be the chef at our old restaurant Fedora, and it was his last night. And I told Brian, hey, I'm a bartender. I just moved back to the city. If you ever need something or somebody, let me know. And he was like, okay, actually, why don't you come to Perla tomorrow and meet Gabriel, the owner, and chat, and we'll see what's going on. The next day, I went to Perla and I met Gabriel, the owner and the founder of the company. We chatted for a while, and I got the gig, and that's how I got involved in happy cooking.
My God.
Yeah.
That is such a New York story, so kismet that you just strike up a conversation in a bar and see what happens. And then it leads to you having this whole, like, really honestly illustrious career with this restaurant group. People are so in love with you at these places, and like you, and it should be, and obviously like guilty as charged. I've asked you to be on this podcast. First of all, the story, excellent. I'm so glad that worked out for you and that you had the call back to your college. But when you recently were leaving Jolene, the kind of reaction that people had to your departing was one, lovely, thoughtful, amazing, and also unlike I had anything I had ever seen. I was like, he's going to Fairfax. Like, it's like maybe 5 minutes away. He's staying in the same restaurant group. But I think that is kind of the, like, what you bring out of people, and like going into the rooms that you work, you are nothing but lovely and welcoming, and the hospitality is just through the roof. I'm sure you're sitting here thinking, like, how do I respond to this? She's just like, you're gonna be like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we can stop waxing poetic about your wonderful vibe you bring to the room of every room you're in, but definitely go check out Fairfax or Jolene or any of these great restaurants. We can get started with some of our regular questions of the show, and I'm so excited to talk to you about some of this. Let's get started with the first one, which is, when did you move to New York City?
So I have a bit of a collage of history growing up. I was born here and lived in Manhattan for the first about 10-ish years of my life. I'm first generation. My parents are from Southern India, came over here and were in New York City doing their postdoc at Rockefeller and Sloan Kettering. Shout out to my parents, first of all. Shout out to all immigrant parents everywhere.
Yes, yes.
So we were here, and then once the postdoc ends, tried and true immigrant stories, you follow the job. And in this case, we were following the job at the university. So we moved up to Burlington, Vermont, and were faculty there for about 8 years. And when I went to college in Madison, Wisconsin, and after my freshman year, I'm packing up my stuff and get a phone call from my mom. And she's like, guess what? And I'm like, what? She's like, we're moving. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. Great. Where are you moving? And she was like, Madison. And I was like, Madison, Wisconsin? And she was like, yeah. And then she was like, guess what? And I was like, look, Mom, I don't really like where this game is going right now. And she was like, we got jobs at University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Oh my God.
And I was like, this is some Indian, this is some brown parent shit right now. You know what I mean? And as a freshman that had just left home to like, reap the benefits of college freedom.
Yes. Sow your wild oats, as we might say.
Yeah. And now I get the call that my parents are moving to Madison. They're going to be working at my school. Quickly, that turned into a lot of gratitude throughout the rest of my college experience. I got to go home and have mom's cooking and dad's cooking.
Very nice.
I met my wife in Madison. She's born and bred in New York City. After college, we were both theater majors, and my wife studied directing and I studied acting. And it's at our both of our cores, we just wanted to be back in New York City. My wife spent most of her life here. Me starting here and then coming back here, sort of realized that my personal operating system was built from 0 to 10 years old on the streets of Manhattan.
I have so many questions. I mean, so we know, okay, you were born here, you were raised here till you were 10. First of all, what neighborhood did you grow up in until you were 10?
63rd in New York.
So you're like a young kid bopping around New York. You're loving the energy of the city. And then your parents are like, as parents do, they have to move you somewhere else. When you get to Vermont, are you kind of like upset about it? Are you liking it? Do you think in your head, like, one day I'm going to get back to that place?
Yeah.
I mean, you guess you're only 10, but what were kind of your thoughts?
First of all, when you're 10 years old and all you know is in New York City, when you go to Vermont and the sun goes down and it is dark and it is quiet for a 10-year-old, it's horrifying. I mean, the first few nights I was just waking up in the morning being like, I just had dreams of like, I'm in a jungle. There was a gorilla chasing me. Like there was no people around. Like, it was a bit jarring.
Yeah.
We also had moved out of New York about 3 to 4 weeks before 9/11.
Oh.
That whole component of like leaving this city and then seeing something so horrific happening.
Yeah.
I think that combination of growing up there, leaving to go to Vermont, having 9/11 occur, coming back to New York, seeing the city coming together, looking back, that was kind of a moment that buried New York City into my soul. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the older I got, I knew that there really wasn't another option for me except to come back here.
Very, very tragic and sad, but I love sort of having that realization at some point in your life of realizing like I have to be around something like that. Ultimately, sadly, leads me to my second question, but I think it does play into this a bit of why did you move to New York? And we know obviously you grew up here, you went away, we know your life story a bit here, but you choosing to come back and that sort of seeing an element of tragedy and knowing like these are the people I need to be around. This is back where I need to be. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about why you came back?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty simple. It was really the family that we were missing. And so it really just worked out. We could be back surrounded by family and just be in the city that both of us absolutely adore. And there's just something about, there's probably a way to measure it. I can ask my brother. He's way smarter than me. But there is a vibration that is tangible if you try to focus on it, that is only existing in this city.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful poetic way of putting it. So like thoughtful and lovely. And I think it's really interesting. Like, I don't really know if anyone has said to us yet, like, oh, the reason not only that I'm here, people have said is for their family, but to come back is for family. It's so lovely. Yes, you are always drawn to the city. Yes, there's something here from when you were born, but to be like, actually, what's going to be really cool is we'll be by all of our family. I think a lot of people come to New York with the exact opposite idea of I can get here and get away from my family.
Yeah.
But it's lovely to hear you guys being like, no, you know what? We actually really love our family. And I just love the idea of you being a kid and being like, I grew up, I had this in my heart, and I just knew I had to come back. And I think considering that you have made so many New Yorkers so happy and that you love this city so much and we can hear it, I now have to ask you the most important question of the show. And that is, what is the most fun you've ever had in New York City?
So before Jolene, I had actually left the restaurant industry outright. I went and joined a cult. I taught at Soul Cycle for a couple of years.
Second, I was like, wait, what? Okay, now I got it.
I live in the West Village by Fairfax and Joseph Leonard and Jeffrey's Grocery.
Very nice.
Yeah, I had been very lucky, very fortunate. Don't ask me how it happened. I don't question it too much. We just let it ride.
Yes.
And so I'm a patron at these restaurants for years, even after I left. And so we were kind of always in communication or just running into each other at the spots. So one time my wife and I are at Jeffrey's. It's spring 2021. And we're both sitting there and we have like our calendars out. We're just staring down the barrel at like 3 bachelor parties, 4 weddings, like all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, who is my cash cow? Who is going to fund this rest of the year? And James Lauer, if he ever hears this, he'll get it. He was like my Dark Knight. He was the hero that I needed but didn't deserve when I was a young, rambunctious, arrogant kid at
Aww.
Perla. And he happened to be there, and he dropped off our oysters, and he was like, hey, would you ever get back in the game? And I was like, I mean, always interested to chat. So I called Gabriel that night, talked about it, and we came to a little agreement. Friday after work, I'd come and bartend. Saturday, I'd bartend. Quickly turned into Thursday after work, I'd bartend. Friday, Saturday, I'd bartend. Quickly turned into Wednesday after work, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'd go there to bartend. So what ended up happening was I'm at Fairfax, and there's 4 people at the door looking for a table. They didn't have a reservation. Very nice about it. And they're like, yo, we'll hang out. You know, we heard about this burger. We're visiting from London. Okay. And those are the kind of things. It's like when you're understanding, I'm always going to be game for it. So we finally get them down. Good rapport with them, with the server. And we don't really believe in taking things off your check because, you know, mentally when you order something at a restaurant, you're clocking that it's going to be on your bill. What we like to do is gift. We like to add. We like to send some other things that you might not be expecting. Or, you know, Rachel, you and I are arguing about 2 dishes and we settle on one. We'll send out the other one and be like, look, no need to choose. Try them both. We're going to add to this experience. So you heard of us from another country somehow, made the effort to come and see us. You were accommodating and understanding that it was a Friday night or Saturday night or whatever. And so I sent them a few things outside of the burgers and the fries. And
very nice.
That really struck a chord. And we started talking about dishes. And, oh, I wouldn't have even ordered the lamb belly. And then, of course, comes a very frequent question when you're visiting from out of town. Where should we go after this?
Yes.
And it's a loaded question. Well, I just kind of met you, so I'm not really sure what your vibe is like or what you're looking for.
Yes.
But I'll try my best. And it actually worked out that I was wrapping up for the night because I wasn't closing that night. And so I was like, you know what? I like y'all. I fuck with your energy. Let me finish my shift report and then just roll with me. Let's just roll.
I love this so much.
So we close out at Fairfax, and so it's 5 of us total. I was like, do you know anything about our other restaurants? They're like, no, I have no idea. Like, all right. So then we go, this little traveling caravan, we go to Joseph Leonard. I show them the space. And if you've ever been to Joseph Leonard, there's a chance you've come across Mick Daly. I was like, Mick, these are my new friends. They're visiting from the UK. And he was like, oh, yeah, great. Let's do some shorties. Shorties are a happy cooking technical term for a little shot of beer or wine to celebrate each other during service and celebrate with our guests at the table. So Mick lines up some shorties. The whole team at Joseph Leonard and our friends from the UK are all, you know, cheersing and having a great time and chatting people up. And they were like, oh, man, that was so fun. Awesome. Thank you. And I was like, oh, we're just getting started here, my friends.
What a.
Yeah. And so naturally, we got to go to Jeffrey's Grocery. So we take the caravan over to Jeffrey's Grocery.
And also, just for everyone who's listening, Fairfax is like right there. Joseph Leonard is like, what, less than a 3-minute walk or something? And then Jeffrey's Groceries right across the street.
It's like 2 blocks.
So you're just bam, bam, bam. This is right.
Yeah. In a leisurely pace, you can walk the triangle in about 4 minutes.
Yes.
And so we go to Jeffrey's, and my boy Chase was there and always shows love to everybody. And same thing. I was like, Chase, it's 5 new friends, man. We just had dinner at Fairfax. We just went and showed them Joseph Leonard. Now we got to show him Jeffrey's. And he was like, great. You guys want a little shorty? I was like, yeah,
yes,
absolutely, Chase. Absolutely. We want some shorties. And we're just kind of just telling this story of happy cooking through a quick little guided tour. And so, you know, we do that. And I'm like, all right, now what's next? Okay. Well, there's this amazing true to form speakeasy. All right. Everybody out there, y'all need to stop opening speakeasies that are announced across all media and in news outlets. Okay. That's not a speakeasy, you can't announce it and tell everyone how to get there. Last year, y'all try to keep opening dive bars. That's not how that works. A dive bar happens over time.
Yes.
You can't open one of those things. They just have to happen.
I've been thinking about that recently with speakeasies that like, it's exactly what you're saying. And so there's no need to repeat it, but they keep calling everything a speakeasy. And it's basically, there's just another door is all it is there's a door that brings you somewhere, which is lovely and fun and unexpected. But I don't know if it's a speakeasy.
No, y'all are opening cocktail bars, and more power to you. That's great.
Yes.
You can't keep calling them speakeasies. All right, fam. So Little Branch, though, in the West Village, has been around for a very long time, is a proper speakeasy. The ripple effects of happy cooking. A friend of mine, Alex, who was a bartender at Bar Sardine. Alex is the head bartender at Little Branch. So I text Alex. I'm like, look, I got a group of friends here. They're visiting. Any way we can sneak into Little Branch for a drink. I know it's Saturday or whatever. Sure thing. Alex says, you got it. Tell the guy at the door you're with Alex. Come on down.
Oh my God. So cool.
So we go to Little Branch. Another friend of mine joins us, Christian. So he meets us at Little Branch. Now the six of us were having cocktails in this beautifully dimly lit wooden old school speakeasy. Great cocktails. We just got to get to know each other, talking about what their lives are like in the UK. What are they doing here? We're just having this lovely time. And you know me, my brain just doesn't stop. I'm like, if we're on a roll, we're on a roll.
Richard, peas in a pod on that vein, I have to say.
Yeah. How do you end? How do you end after a wonderful meal at Fairfax, a couple of drinks at the Corners, which is Jeffrey's and Joseph Leonard, amazing cocktails by Alex at Little Branch. How do you button this all up?
Yes.
And bring these folks in New York at its core? And I was like, I know exactly what we're going to do.
What are we going to do?
And I text a friend of mine, Jen Shore, who is the owner, proprietor, founder of a really, truly, and I mean this, absolutely magical place called Joyface. And Joyface is not something I can really explain or anything I'd ever seen before.
So good.
It's not a club, but you do dance.
Yes. And
I explain it to everyone. It's the place in New York that you can go and just be exactly who you are. Everyone is going to embrace it, and everyone is going to uplift it and encourage it and be there with you as the purest version of themselves. And you're just dancing to ABBA. You know what I mean? It's like, it's amazing. There's a waterbed in there. There's a disco ball. And so we pulled up.
How did you guys get to Joyface? Because now we're talking the other side of the city. Did all six of you get into a taxi together?
Yeah, Uber XL. Yeah.
With the new friends. I love it. So you get to Joyface.
And we get to Joyface, and what happens at Joyface stays right there. So I'll just tell you that we went. I'll tell you that we went. Really, shout out to Jen for creating something so special. But if you were here for the darkest parts of the pandemic, you'll know that all it took was one sentence. Please take care of your neighbor. And that was the end of that. And no New Yorker ever questioned it. And we took care of each other, helped each other out. That is New York. And Joyface takes care of you spiritually. And I was really glad that we were able to show our new friends this. And after that, we parted ways and we haven't been in contact.
Oh, this is okay. We've reached the end now, right? Because this is the ultimate making of a New York story. And that is that you never saw the motherfuckers again. That is what makes it, because this city lends itself so well to exactly what you said: exploration, adventure, just say yes. And I mean, listen, would it be great if you became lifelong friends with them? Sure. Wonderful. Is it maybe even better that you've never seen them again, that you opened up this level of hospitality and friendship to them and just show them around? Because all I'm thinking the entire story is, I know you're having a great time. I know you love New York City, but I'm thinking about them. Like, what do you think the story is that they tell their friends when they go back to London? Like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe this guy just kept taking us places and because people are so enamored with New York and what can happen to them here. Obviously, guilty as charged. I bet you they just had the best time ever, and that you offered it to them like that. It would have been really easy for you to be like, hey, there's a great bar down the street, I love it, and that would have been truthful, but you actually went along with them for the ride. And I just think it's so fun. It is exactly what can happen to you in New York City. And it's a wonderful story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is. It is that. And that's, why I chose it, is because it was briefly taken away from us over the last few years. And it is just that. No matter what happens from here on out, that evening, that moment in time is going to always be what we did together randomly without knowing each other. And however they recall it, they're probably like, yo, this kind of like short Aziz Ansari looking dude just started taking us places.
That is not what they're saying.
There's something called shorties, in rap videos, shorty means something way different than what it means at Happy Cooking. But all that is to say, that is the city to me, is those interactions that can just happen if you are open enough. It can really be put into a phrase that somehow I came up with a long time ago. My parents are from India. India is not only my home and my origin story through my parents, but to me, it means I never did it alone. That is what I hold on to all the time. And that is what New York is. It's like, I never did this. I did not do anything alone. I did not do Jolene alone. I did not do Perla, Fairfax, where I live, my wife, like nothing was alone. I did it all because I have people around me that decided that it was worth their time and energy to allow me into their lives and help me and support me when I needed it. And that right there is New York fucking City.
It's gonna make me cry again. It's a beautiful, once again, poetic way of putting it. I do think you're discrediting yourself a little bit. I think you're probably doing a lot that is making this happen. But yes, you sound like the type of person who loves and truly appreciates your support team, no matter where they are, no matter who they are. And it's actually so lovely and refreshing to hear that. A lot of times you can come across a bunch of assholes who do think they do everything on their own. It's my job. I have you on the show. I'm supposed to hype you up a bit. I think you're doing a lot. And I think a lot of people recognize it. And you are genuinely such a hospitable guy. I mean, look at the story. You took all these strangers out and they had probably one of the best nights of their lives. I have to ask you my last question of the show. And that is, what is your favorite thing about New York City?
My favorite thing about New York City is on the corner of 92nd Street and West End Avenue. There's an apartment that is my mother-in-law and my father-in-law's apartment where my wife grew up. And we are fortunate enough to spend a lot of time there with them, cooking meals, watching football, mixing drinks, really reminding ourselves what is the most important part of our time here on Earth. That is my favorite part, is that apartment with those people in it. And I don't think anything could ever come close to that.
You're killing me over here. We're on like the third time. What a very truly thoughtful and kind answer. No one has ever had an answer like that. And it's so nice. It ties exactly perfectly into the beginning of this interview of just family meaning so much to look at you. Geez, your wife bagged a real good one. That's your favorite thing about New York?
I'm sure she has a list of things that I could work on, but
Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta find a way to lighten the mood here. But very, very thoughtful, very poetic, very lovely. All of the things this entire interview has been. I think that is such a tremendously perfect answer to your favorite thing about New York City. I don't really have anything else to add. Thank you so much for being on the show, for telling that wonderful story that I really, really hope inspires people to just, as always, say yes and just go out and have an adventure in New York. Thank you for telling us everything about all of your families, everything. I loved talking to you.
Thank you so much. Shout out to you and all that you're doing. I'll see you at Fairfax for a burger and a shorty.
Thank you. That is definitely the plan. A burger and a shorty. Thank you for all your kind words. Most of all, thanks, New York. They had fun.
I love New York so much.